Hello students, here is Ashu Gupta, Assistant Professor. Again welcomes you all on the behalf of the Indraprasth Law College. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the topic of international law, that is intervention. Means that here in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the meaning and kinds of intervention. So let's discuss about the meaning and the kinds of the intervention. Firstly, we have to know about its meaning, and if we define the term intervention which is used in the subject of international law, prescribed that the intervention prohibited by international law is actually defined as dictatorial interference by a state in the affairs of another state. There are few interventions which can be justified by right, as such not a violation by the intervening state of the independence of another. Intervention is a dictatorial interference by a state in the affairs of another state for the purpose of maintaining or altering the actual conditions of things. Mere friendly advice and general political influence do not strictly come under this term, as essential requisite of intervention are the use of force or a threat to use of force is lacking in them. The interference must take an imperative form. It should be forcible or backed by the threat of force. And a dictatorial interference is an interference by the threat or use of force. It is evident that general international law does not prohibit intervention under all circumstances, such as forcible interference in the sphere of interest of another state is permitted as a reaction against a violation of international law. So basically this is the basic meaning of intervention, which is clearly described in this video, and trying to understand what is the basic concept behind it. And after that, now we will discuss about the kinds of intervention. If we talk about its kinds, what are the kinds of the intervention which is given under international law, under the subject of international law? That is three different types of intervention are defined in the international law, which are: number one, external; number two, internal; and the punitive. So there are the three kinds of intervention, namely internal intervention, external intervention, and punitive intervention. Now we will discuss about these three kinds of intervention. What is the meaning of these three? First, we are discussing about internal intervention. What is the internal intervention? It is the interference by one state between the disputing sections of the community in another state, either for protection of legitimate government or the insurgent. And in the year 1936, number of states intervened in the Civil War of Spain. That is the example of that internal intervention. Now the second one is external intervention. It is the intervention by one state in the relations, generally of the hostile relations of other states. In other words, you can say that it is an intervention in the foreign affairs of another state, such intervention being directed against hostile relations of such state. This kind of intervention is tantamount to the declaration of war. The entry of Italy in Second World War, siding with Germany against Great Britain, provided an example of external intervention. So that is the best example of external intervention. Now the last one is punitive intervention. If we talk about punitive intervention, the meaning of that which is prescribed in the subject of international law is that it is a punitive measure falling short of war and is in the nature of a reprisal for an injury suffered at the hands of the another state. It is frequently carried out by stronger nations towards weaker nations. A Pacific bloc to compel the observance of treaty engagement or to redress some breach of law of affords an illustration of this type of intervention. So these are the basic important three kinds of intervention which is mentioned here in the chapter of intervention. Hope you will enumerate it into your study and understand it very well. We will meet soon again with the next lecture, and we will discuss in that lecture about the grounds for intervention. What is the grounds of intervention given in the subject of international law? So thank you very much.